Hello, everybody, and welcome to Devotion to Writing. This is a channel dedicated to helping you cultivate a devoted writing practice, or any creative practice for that matter. Now, I just said in that last sentence, I think, three keys to writing or creating. And the keys to realizing our creative dreams, our goals, our ambitions are found in the things that I just said. And those three things are devotion, cultivation, and practice. So in this video, I want to look at each one of these, and let's start with practice. So practice, of course, is where we learn. It is how we learn. We show up and we repeat something. So an athlete might show up and repeat, at batting practice. So they're repeating the activity of hitting a baseball. In practice, we train our minds and our bodies. We train our minds and our bodies over and over. Our mind focuses on the work that we're producing, and our bodies are able to execute that work, whatever it is. But in this case, we're talking about writing. So it's the same. So it's the same as hitting a baseball or shooting a foul shot or playing the piano. We are training our minds to be present on the page and training our bodies to sit and be present with our mind and execute the work. Even professionals, as I just was talking about baseball, even professionals continue to practice even after they've seemingly mastered their work. A musician, a concert pianist will continue to practice scales or arpeggios, and a professional basketball player will keep taking foul shots every day before the games. We just are always practicing. But it's curious that writers, we don't ever say, I'll say I'm going to go practice piano, or I'm going to guitar practice, but we never say, I'm going to writing practice, or I'm going to practice writing. And I think we're doing ourselves a bit of a disservice in not thinking about what we're doing as just practice. I'm going to write as practice. I'm going to practice writing a sentence or practice writing a poem. What's embodied, I think, in the idea of practice is that we're learning each time we do it. We're getting better each time we do it. We're also learning, and sometimes we fail, but we're failing in the process, and the process of failing and doing it again, we're learning and we're getting better. So we're learning how it can be done. The sculptor Alberto Giacometti was asked late in his life in a documentary why he spent hours a day sculpting. And at this time, this is like the mid-1960s, he was perhaps the most recognizable famous sculptor in the world. And his answer was, I sculpt to learn how to sculpt. Still, after decades of working, he was practicing and learning, still using the process of sculpting to the practice of sculpting to learn to sculpt. I just think that's a really wonderful, for me, I took that to heart. I thought, I will just practice writing poems for the rest of my life. And I'll write some great poems or good poems in the process, but it will still always be a practice. So practice is vital. Write your poems, stories, memoirs, and know that you're also, as you're writing them, practicing writing poems, stories, and memoir. It alleviates a lot of pressure too if you're thinking about, this is just practice. I'm practicing writing this. I think one thing that paralyzes too many writers, aspiring writers especially, gives them writer's block is that this idea that they have to write something great, that they have to write something perfect, that they have to write a masterpiece when they sit down, and they never give themselves that opportunity to learn as they are as they're in the process of making. And another thing is that when we're taught to write, which happens, at a young age. First, we get the, writing our letters and things, but I'm thinking more of like high school when we're taught how to write. We're taught rhetorical writing. We're taught how to make arguments, and it just seems it's such a labor that we're never taught the joy of writing. that what it is to just sit with oneself and have this language come out of us, language for, our experiences, for who we are, for what's inside of us, for how we're relating to the world, for a language for how we see the world. And I think that's a shame. We're taught, I think we should be taught that first, and we should be taught that writing can be joyous and can be fun. It could be play. And we should, if we had that first, I think many people wouldn't have such an aversion to writing that they do. So writing is hard, and I hear people. It is difficult work. It can be a struggle, and yes, to make something out of language is it takes time. But we forget that this is also enjoyable. It's a way that those of us who want to write and who pursue writing, we find it enjoyable to sit there and grapple and wrestle with language. So what is wrong with a little struggle, a little climb, a little journey? It can be fun, like a difficult hike in the mountains is arduous. But when we get there, when we arrive at the destination at the top of the mountain, isn't that what makes that so sweet? Is the steep climb. So after practice, there's cultivation. That's the second key. To cultivate is a term that comes from farming, and cultivate means to nurture or to care, to provide something, an environment in which it can grow. So it's to grow something. To cultivate is to grow something. In order for a plant to grow, it needs enough food, it needs enough water, it needs enough light. And this makes it healthy and it'll grow. And similarly, we have to provide our creativity with a healthy environment in which to grow. We have to provide it with nourishment, with care, with our patience, with our attention. And so we have to ask it, what does this, say it's a poem, what does this poem want? How does it want to express? How can I give this poem what it needs? It may require some of our energy, inspiration. We might have to go take a walk with it, or an adventure, or a trip, and give it time, give it space, whatever it is. These are the things that in our practice we learn our own creative process and how to give our creations what they need, how to cultivate them so that they grow. So creativity, writing does not grow without being cultivated. We have to cultivate. Cultivation is a daily thing, or could be a daily thing. And this leads to devotion. And devotion is, traditional definition is to give our attention or our loyalty to a person or a thing. Now we're all devoted to something or someone, and could be, family, friends, work, and this can be good. Our devotions can be good, and they can be bad. Some people are devoted to negative things. They're devoted to negative thinking or creating drama in their lives, or kind of holding on to resentments. And others, they channel all of their creative energy into these things, these negative things. And other people are devoted to, say positive things like friends or pets or travel or thrill seeking. But if they channel all of their energy into even positive things, if what they really want to, or what we really want to be doing is writing or creating, but we're channeling our energy into, say, taking care of another, taking care of a pet, we kind of siphon off that energy that we have for creating into other services. Now, it's great to be of service. It really is. But if we're being of service and we're kind of resenting being of service because we're not taking care of something in ourselves, then are we really that care that we're providing? Are we really providing such good care? So we do have to take care of ourselves as well. And so if you want to write, do yourself the favor. If you want to create, do yourself a favor and devote time, a certain amount of time each day, or almost every day. I mean, some people, I hate to say daily, because some people, if they don't do it daily, they think, oh, I've fallen off. I can't do it. I'm not a writer. I'm not meant to be a writer. I've had people tell me these things, but we need to have some consistency. And daily is great if we can, because devotion is built on dailiness. So That's one definition of devotion, that loyalty. But there's another that I love even more, and it is this. And this is really what all of my videos, anything I talk about with writing, always comes back to this about our creative process, about devotion and devoting ourselves to our creativity. And that is that devotion is coming to love. This is the heart of what I discuss in all of these videos. It is always what I'm going back to. This is what the practice, what cultivation lead to, and that is love. Love of what? Love of ourselves, love of creating, love of the creative process naturally, but I think there's a little bit more too. And that is that devotion, the act, the activity, the process, the lifetime of it leads us to a deep love of creating, but creating with the creative energy that we possess, the energy that we naturally are, the energy that animates us, that directs us in this life, that is this life. Devotion brings us really to an experience of this, and some people call it cosmic energy, universal energy, the goddess, God, divinity, our natural self, the source. It does not matter what you call it, because these are just names for something that really is indescribable. It is just an energy that is within us, that is us. Our devoted practice brings us to this. The process of this journey will lead us through doubt. It'll lead us to surrender. It'll lead us to communion. Ultimately, it brings us, if we are committed, if we are writing, our creative practice brings us to abundance and faith in the creative energy of life, which is us. I don't say this casually. I don't just believe this. I know this is true. I know it is true. I have experienced it. Since I began my own devoted practice, my life has changed. It's drastic. It's not the same as it was. I was a frustrated writer. I had gone to graduate school, finished graduate school. I was writing and submitting, and nothing was happening. But I really wasn't committed to the daily process. I really wasn't committed to the art. And until I did, and when I did, things really began to happen, really as if by magic. I think I started writing maybe after 3 months of daily writing. I think my first few poems got accepted for publication. Within a year, my poetry collection was accepted for publication. A year, 2 years in, I founded a literary arts center, the Noepe Center for the Literary Arts, which I ran for 10 years. And in that time also, I started to teach workshops in Italy and lead retreats, devotion to writing retreats. So my world grew exponentially. My dreams, my writing dreams, I have gone way beyond. I realized my dreams were so limited compared to what has happened just in my commitment. Where that has led me to, where the devotion has led me to, went way far exceeded the little dreams I had for what I thought my writing could do. And beyond this, the great gift is that creativity has brought me joy to my life and such gratitude for the life that I am. And this I did not experience before. So here's a question for you, sitting here watching this, maybe wanting to write, maybe you are writing. But anyway, I will give you this little writing prompt. This is a question. If you want to use it as a writing prompt, you may. I think that's why I'm offering it here. But to what, to whom are you devoted? And do you want to be devoted to this? And if you say no, why? What would you prefer to be devoted to? So if you choose to take that on as a prompt, it is again, to what, to whom are you devoted? Is this something you want to be devoted to? If not, what would you like to be devoted to? If it's writing or painting or dancing or music or something, why aren't you devoted to that thing? Just something to take a few minutes and write about for your own self. So, as I mentioned, creating has changed my life. Devotion to writing has changed my life. And I know that the same can happen for you once you commit to the rigor and ritual of creating. Writing becomes a rhythm in which you move through life. If you need help, tips, guidance, that's what this channel is for. Please subscribe. I'm going to be, I'll be offering more tips, very specific things about writing, how to sustain our writing practice, how to cultivate our writing, and how we can be more devoted to our writing. So I'll be doing that in future videos. I'm here to help. I love to help. I consider this my service. It also gives me great joy to work with other writers. It is a difficult thing that we do. We do it alone, and it's wonderful to have support. That's why I do this. So if you know of someone, if you have a friend who you think might, a colleague who you think might enjoy this or benefit from this, please share this with them. I would appreciate it. And thank you for watching. My name is Justin Aaron, and I hope that you write deeply. Thank you.